everybody. Welcome back. We're here again for our Intuition Language of the Soul class with Lenka Schulze. Today's class, Know Thyself. This is a recorded webinar, and you will find that you are all on mute. I just wanted to thank everybody for all the great positive feedback we had from our first class last month. And I wanted to let you know we have created an online Facebook community. We're leaving our chat open, so you can leave your email and information so we can reach out to you and let you know about upcoming events and classes and our membership page that we are going to have on our website here soon. We also are going to be taking questions at the end of the show. And if you want to go ahead and use a Q&A function on Zoom, we're going to have take questions during the talk, and then we'll get to them towards the end. And now I want to introduce our speaker, Lenka Schulze. Hey, Lenka.
Hi, Brandon. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Again, you could be anywhere else and you decide to be here. So I'm so grateful, so grateful. And today's topic that we're going to be discussing to know yourself. And, you know, everybody thinks that we know who we are. And honestly, we really don't. We're just scratching the surface. So I want you to open your hearts, open your minds. And I would like to start with the candle meditation again, just a very quick to get us kind of a grounded and connected in this beautiful space. Brandon, if you don't mind, thank you. As you deepen your breath, we just spend a few moments to focus our intention on this gathering and this present moment. And if you wish, please focus your gaze on this flame, as your eyes are the windows of your soul. Your soul is now seeing the light and bringing awareness to the light within you. By acknowledging the light, your light is growing and expanding as well as shining. Bring awareness to your breath, to your inhales and exhales. Bring awareness to your chair or sofa you are sitting on. Ground yourself firmly in this present moment and breathe. Let it go. Be here. Let go of distracting thoughts, things to do, places to go. Let go. And see the light growing, expanding. As we are completely surrounded by the pillar of light, as we share our own light and love in today's class. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. So I am going to just jump in, and I would like you to join me to California. Why California? Well, okay, well, all roads lead to Rome. But, you know, as Floridian, Rome is kind of a long way. So I kind of had this visualization of going to California. And so visualize with me wherever you are that we are in the car and we drive into California. So this is our intention. The intention is to get to California. So on the way to California, as you know, it's a lot of things to see. There's a lot of cows, a lot of farms, a lot of trees, and a lot of pit stops. So when you go into this mindset of, okay, my destination is California, and you stop along the way, it's your free will, it's your choice how long you're going to stare at the cows, how long you're going to stay in the pit stop. Maybe you're visiting for a day, and maybe you're going to stay there for 3 years. And during the process of you traveling, and you are slowly getting to California, on the way to California, you are gaining a lot of experiences. You meet a lot of beautiful people. And maybe you are sharing some sorrows on the way, but you discover many beautiful things about you, how you react, how you act, how you blossom, how you express certain heartaches or celebration in life. All of these pit stops on the way to California teaches you a lot about yourself. So you gain a lot of knowledge and experience. And some of these experiences making you potentially very abundant. It gives you talents, maybe education. So during that process, you start expanding your consciousness. And that's really what it is also with intuition and knowing things about yourself. So what does this mean going to California? Well, I believe, like I said before, all roads lead to Rome, which means we are all in the end searching the same thing, the purpose in life, to finding the love, knowing why are we here? So these are these big questions. And all these questions will lead you to the one destination, and that is the California or Rome. But again, I'm using the California. And during that journey, you gain a lot. You gain education, maybe you have children, maybe you travel the world, maybe you experience cancer, maybe you lost someone on the way. But in the end, it is all about the journey. And I cannot stress this enough, is that if you want something in life, just have that intention. It's so important. But don't forget that that journey on the way is so enriching for your journey. You get exactly what you need to get to that destination. So I shared with you a flyers in that last couple emails. If you don't have it, Brandon, can you put the toxic energy field and then the empowering techniques on the screen, please? So when we want to get more aware of ourselves and be more intuitive, which is pretty much the theme of this, we need to be able to recognize when we are toxic, when we are in a toxic environment, why are we toxic and what to do about it. So as we cleanse our body and our minds from toxic, we become very sensitive as well. So when we look at the first flyer, and I'm just going to go very quickly with that, the symptoms of toxic energy field, I think a lot of you can resonate with that. Feeling heavy. This is very puzzling because a lot of thin people, even anorexic people, feel heavy. So again, it's not about you are thin or not, it's how you're feeling. So when somebody says, oh, I feel heavy, and you look at them and they thin, don't judge that, because it tells you very, very precisely how they're feeling. And per se, maybe you do. So recognize, like, why am I feeling heavy? And be honest with yourself. You probably are thin. So why are you beating yourself up only on that physical level, right? Then you have the emotionally drained constantly, with like you're not even doing anything and you feel drained. Again, you don't put that drained necessarily as equal emotions. We don't realize how much exercise we get through our emotions and our thoughts, and how does that drain in our physical body. Blaming others. It's just that whole giving responsibility, because it's sometimes so much, or we don't want any. We just start putting energy into others. We just kind of like throw in that hot potatoes on other people, recognizing the fact that, you know what, it's too much for you. You can't handle it. So you start kind of like blaming others, attacking others, and you are very edgy, feeling fearful. Everything's out there to get you, kind of that mentality. Feeling confused. Confusion is a very big one. Not feeling focused and feeling confused. It's like your energy is spread out too much, and you don't even know what you do, and you misplacing your keys, or you don't know where you put your phone. That's kind of that confusion. Lacking clarity and focus, kind of the same thing. Attacks of jealousy. So, jealousy, there's a subject that probably we could do a whole class about, but it's a very, very powerful energy. And when we are not naturally jealous, and we have everything that we think we need, loving husband, children, house, abundance of health, all that. Why are we having these? And you have to be very honest with yourself about this. But why am I jealous of her or him? What is it? Well, maybe it's not even yours. So first, of course, you have to put the fingers on you. But then if it's not, where did you pick up that vibration? Who had it that you picked it up? So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but please recognize this. And of course, judgment. It's a big one. It's a program running for, again, 2000 years. When you're looking at your home, again, feeling restless and edgy, kind of like you can't relax, things to do constantly, or you just can't sit still. Having sudden anger attacks, very, very similar to the other one. Poor sleep and bad dreams. That's a big one. Arguments with your family, we already talked about that, and lacking desire to create. This is something that I would really want you to look at, because creativity is, again, intuition. It's the love, it's that creative aspect of ourselves that is infused with intuition. So if you don't have the mojo to create a meal or plant a flowers, or do a drawing, or sing a song, or however you like to create, if you don't have that mojo that you usually do, there is some kind of negativity around you. Next one, please. Okay, so we covered that one. So we have the empowering techniques. So once you have that, so actually I'm going to jump, if you don't mind, can you show us that those the one with the two individuals in the bubbles? Okay, that one. Okay. I love this image so much. So look at this, obviously the aura, you can call it, or the energy around us, the electromagnetic field, right? So this is for real. This is kind of like what happens. We have our energy over here, and very intuitive person can come near you and can know everything about you without even you saying a word. Why? Because the energy is in your, the answers are in your energy. What does that mean? Well, your experiences, your likes, your dislikes, your attitudes, your feelings, all of that is stored right there, right? So let's just make a scenario that you are the one person, and you're very lovey, and you're very kind, and you're very peppy, and you have a lot of energy, and you like to create. You kind of like that whole fairy, you are just one of those popcorns, waking up popcorn all the time. And you meet over here the other person who is very down, very depressed, kind of a downer, doesn't have anything positive to say. And then you guys meet. And you could see, that shared space in the middle. But what's going to start happening is that the aura is going to be clashing. And it's almost like you become him, she becomes her, right? So it's kind of like, am I saying this correctly? So it's kind of like you start melding, and that whole oneness, if you think about that. Because if you multiply the two people by millions, that's kind of the whole oneness. We are really all connected. But knowing who you are in that circle, in that aura, it's really important. So when you meet someone with different vibration, different energy, and it affects you, right away, that's not me. That must be someone else. I don't necessarily dwell on who, but it was nice to know it's not me. That's all I'm kind of saying. It's like you just kind of like reject something that it's not yours. Okay. But if you don't know who you are, and if the whole class will be about that, if you don't know who you are, you become susceptible to that kind of a influence. And this influence is so powerful. I'm going to give you another example. Let's just say, again, you are peppy, go happy, the whole popcorn. And then you meet a person who acts like that, but it's not. So it's the deception. Deception is going to be another class. But your five senses will be, oh, she's so nice, and she's so vibrant, and she has such a good vibration, and I really like her, and she's funny. And then you go home and you're drained. You're completely drained. And you're like puzzled, like, why am I so exhausted? Well, because that person is not who they act to be. See, so they're not aligned. We talked about the alignment last time. So there's a lot of people who are nice, and there's nothing wrong with nice, but inside they are boiling volcanoes. So if you're entering into the volcano, you're going to feel it, not right away, because it's kind of like your five senses will kind of trick you. You're going to go like, hold on, that feeling doesn't match up with what I'm seeing. And that's kind of like makes you almost like, again, confused. And so you go home confused. You see the confusion when I was mentioning it before. So this is so important. If you can etch this particular image in your mind, it would help you so much. If it's with your children, your spouses, your coworkers, your business meetings, or even going to a grocery stores or wherever you go, because I always give this example. If you go, think about this, by thousands of or hundreds of people, and you go during the Christmas time shopping in a department store, okay? All the people are stressed. They run around buying presents. They have this agenda. They not thinking of like love and compassion, and you walk right into it and you shopping with them. How do you going to feel going home versus you going again into botanical gardens and you walking around with people who love the flowers and the plants and so on and so forth? How are you going to feel going home with that energy? This is obviously very exaggerated versions, but of course there's a concerts, there's a school meetings, there's a grocery stores, malls, or even a family gatherings. I mean, I love how, I think it was Ram Dass who says, if you want to be spiritual, go spend a week with a family. That's a great boot camp right there. Because it's easy to do it with people we don't know, but the closest to us, and they have the triggers, right? They pushing our buttons. That's definitely a very, very, very telling exercise. Let's see. So I have going back into purifying your energy field. So when you have the bubble, let's say you're going home and you feel exhausted and you feel like you picked up something that's not yours. So first, I always go into these. You have a physical body, you have a mental and emotional, and then you have the spiritual, right? So you want to always start with the physical. Please do your juice cleanse and drink water and have a lot of herbal teas. It's really, really good for cleansing the liver that holds the emotions on a really deep level. Salt baths, I cannot stress this enough. This is a big one. The Epsom salt baths are wonderful. They detoxify you beautifully. If you don't have a salt bath, you can just do a foot bath or just have also like a spritzer, water with salt and just spray it around you. I have one in a car. I have one in the office. I love these spritzers with like rose or lavender. It's nicely refreshes your aura. Of course, we live in Florida, swim in the ocean, or at least walk the beach. Either way, inhaling that beautiful ion energy is very, very cleansing as well. Grounding, that's a big one. Grounding, earthing, same thing. Walk barefoot outdoors, or simply lay on the grass. Like it's really, really, really simple but powerful. Forest bathing, very similar to grounding. It's just that to me, the trees are like elders. They carry so much wisdom. There's a very deep healing as well as cleansing. Just depends what kind of a intention you have when you walk into the forest. And crystals, of course, a lot of people wear crystals. I would like you to kind of bring intention to the crystals, acknowledge the infinite possibilities that the crystal carry, and reawaken those gifts within it. Because a lot of times people just put crystals and it is whatever it is. But if you actually acknowledge the powers of the crystal, your mind almost like activates a power within it. Then we have the purifying your home. So again, it goes both ways, because if you have a dirty aura and you come home, then that energy just kind of spreads out. So think about, again, when you have spouses who go to a very stressful jobs and they bring the job home, or your children bring in all the stress to your house. This is so important. This is your sanctuary. This is really, really important that you understand how energy of the subtle energy, how that affects your overall well-being. So plants are allies. They easily pick up the heavy burdens. Small pots of fresh herbs, again, easily available, especially in Florida. Have it like I have here a glass. So I just cut some mugwort, so I have it here, or rosemary. Just have it all over. It's just not only that they carry beautiful vibration, they have also healing energy. They spread out in the air. Purchase fresh flowers. That's another class itself. Flowers have a meaning. You pick the right flowers for the right reasons. So that's again beautiful. And of course, when you're buying flowers for yourself, you really kind of carry that love for yourself. You're buying something for yourself. It's beautiful. So flowers are just nice allies. Crystals, salt lamps around your house, beautiful. Smudging. That's you know, again, you have the plants alive next to you, but you can also have them dried and use it as a smoke, right? So as a smudging. This has been done in the churches and shamanism. This is nothing new age. This is very ancient. Sweet grass. Brandon shared that with me. That's you kind of use it as a smudge, but this welcomes the new energy in. So the sage, cedar, and mugwort kind of like cleanses it. It's kind of like a sweeping, and then the sweet grass welcomes new energy in. Burn resins. You know, there's just a little pots. You put resins in, plug it in, or they have one on the fire. It's a lovely smell. Again, the aroma. It's, you know, aromatherapy. Think about that. So anything that you smell, it's really pure. I'm not talking about the plugins. Okay. I'm not talking about some perfumes. I'm talking about the real divine intelligence. That's what heals, what carries that vibrational frequency. The essential oils, of course, buy from good companies, but lavender, peppermint, pine, rosemary, and such. And just overall feng shui, you know, keep your house clean and uncluttered. That really helps you because, again, your eyes sees, right? So it's like if they see clutter, then it is clutter, right, in your mind. So it just kind of what you see is kind of like a mirroring effect. So when you're kind of doing all that cleansing, I think we're done with that, Brendan. When we are doing any cleanses, do anybody have any questions about that, about those couple flyers?
Lenka, we have a question about how can we decipher when we might have a spiritual toxicity as opposed to a physical toxicity?
I would always first start with physical. So again, if it's chronic, right? If it's something, again, if it's something quick, like I was saying, you're going to a rock concert, okay, and you come home exhausted, you know that's energetic, right? But if you feel day in, day out kind of burnout, if it's a chronic, I would first start with the physical, cleansing the body, cleansing the liver. The liver holds the emotions. So there's a beautiful, powerful herbs that you can drink a tea. I like kind of the tea because again, when you're drinking water, a lot of times the water, it's just dead. Like it doesn't have any hydrogen or it doesn't have any kind of a minerals in it, right? Because it's depleted. But when you charge it up with herbs, like, and you drink it as a herbal tea, it's very, very powerful. And it goes as a divine intelligence. It goes exactly, and it just does this job. You know, it goes to the body and does what it needs to do. So the emotions, when they are held in the liver, weighs down the body and the energies of it is here, but when it's cleansed. So I would first do the physical if it's chronic. If it's something that you know, it's like you get, and I'm going to talk about this now, is that if it's something that you know who you are and then just you feel off, when you can sense it, that's that energetic. Hopefully that answers the question.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback, they say. Now a popular subject lately is been a lot about depression and anxiety. And everywhere I go, I feel, especially after COVID, it's really, even though people aren't talking about or calling it depression and anxiety, I feel like it's a common theme. Do you have any insight on that?
Yes, I feel that clarification of what this actually means and where it stands in the level of spirituality, it's kind of important subject, just because, you know, I'm not a doctor, and I of course recommend you seeing a professional if you have severe depression and all that. But if you have done all that and you don't feel that there's a light in a tunnel, and I have helped many people with these kind of challenges, is that, you know, we have to look at it multidimensional. And I do have a chapter on that in my book. And I personally have been, I want to say almost like surprised that I have been depressed, because I had that power, you know, there's just so many levels of depression. I had that kind of a power of my will, like I'm not depressed, but my body have every single possible symptoms. So, you know, there's kind of like that hidden one that is really tricky for people who have that very powerful will. But I feel like the answer will depend on the consciousness of the individual. And this is a tricky answer, but it's about, you know, like a lot of times I would say, okay, well, if we dealt with the physical and you have depression, well, we have to look at the spiritual. But if you have a lot of physical, I can't go into spiritual. So you could see it depends how that person asks the question about it and what they have done. But I would first start with the physical body, do the detoxification, grounding, and so on and so forth, strengthen the aura. And then I would look at the thoughts and the emotions of that person and explore where the key is. And that's majority of the time when, again, we have the physical manifestation of the depression. And then you have the emotional, mental, where the key is to the physical, if that makes sense. And then you have the spiritual, right? So a lot of people go from the physical to the spiritual, and that's unfortunate, because the key is right in the middle, the emotional, and then the thoughts and the emotions. So once we shine the light on that, then we can do something about it. But to me personally, I feel that the cure for depression, and a lot of times depressed people have pain. So pain and depression, because if you are in pain, you're most likely going to be depressed, because it's kind of really frustrating, vicious cycle. So the cure for depression, I feel like it's to attune yourselves to the love and joy within you, almost like to the spiritual heart. That's really the key, but there's not very many people who can guide you to it. So you have to want to kind of, do you have that will to kind of get out of that cycle and know that the depression is nothing more than level of consciousness. So like we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's kind of like being aware of your emotions and your thoughts. And that's where the answer is, in my opinion. So hopefully that helped, but I would definitely not go to judgment and not like a quick fix. It's not. There's some kind of a deep diamond in the rough in that depression, because depression is depressed anger, right? So when you have depressed anger, you first have to be angry to lift the depression. So the depression, you know, it's a lower vibration and a fact that you don't have much energy. I mean, we all been there in one point or another. So it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. So you're kind of like really, really low on vibrational energy. But when you get angry, you can just do stuff. So first you have to be angry about being sick and tired and being in that vicious cycle. That makes sense. So yeah, I like the analogy of the pressure cooker, where, and I'm going to summarize this with the pressure cooker because I love that analogy, is that it's all energy, right? It's all about understanding how we work or how we live with our energy. So when we have too much energy and it's not utilized It's like the boiling pressure cooker ready to explode, and you don't know what to do, and you are just running 100 miles an hour, and you can't breathe, and it's like so much, and it's like that. It's like a pressure cooker, right? So then you're like, oh, I don't like how I feel. So then you are, let's just say that you take some medication, and then you don't have the anxiety, so the pressure cooker is controlled, and then you are depressed. So it's, again, the pressure cooker is controlled, but once you go on that vicious cycle that you're going up and down, up and down. It's about, okay, I have a lot of energy. Where can I open the lid and let it out, the steam out? Is it sport? Is it meditation? Is it dance? Is it singing? There's some kind of outlet. And I really like the creative outlet, because we are creative beings. And that's majority of the time, the soul is screaming. And that's why we're experiencing these really uncomfortable feelings, because we have never been taught how to deal with them. You know, our parents or grandparents, their remedy was most likely alcohol. So they were escaping in alcohol, right? So that was just the easy way to just kind of deal with it. But now it's not as easy. It's almost like it doesn't work anymore, because we have to still go to work and drive, and we can't do that. So we're looking for other outlets, and none of them are healthy. So hopefully that helped with that, because I want to go back in a little bit into the cleansing. So once we are all cleansed up, like, right, we are so clean, spanking clean. Now we become very sensitive. And that's the plus and the minus, because the plus is that you are so clean that you can feel everything, but you are so clean you can feel everything. So this is not the time to label yourself special. You're not special because you're sensitive. So it's not about, oh, I can't have gluten, I can't go there, you know, all those fancy luxurious things that the spiritual people do. It's about, how can now I make myself powerful and immune to the world, so I could be the spiritual warrior for the light. Because if you hide in the house and you are, you know, drinking your Kool-Aid because you can't go anywhere because you're so sensitive, you're not really helping the humanity in your closet. Right. So this is where you need to now fuel your aura, that circle you saw, with a lot of power, a lot of light. So because it was all this muddy darkness, you know, the toxins and thoughts and emotions and baggage from past lives and your parents and all that, you cleaned it up. But now you have to fill it with light. And the light is the most powerful thing, but you have to be able to hold it. And then everything bounces off of you. If it's any kind of a chemicals, if it's viruses, if it's all of that, nothing's going to touch you. We are so powerful. But that's the thing. You need to know yourself. You need to know, okay, am I sensitive? And why am I sensitive? Is it because I cleanse myself so well, and now I can't take these toxins? I cannot eat awful food. So that's a blessing. You know, you see yourself, you're treating yourself like a sovereign human being, and that's really what you want to go into that evolution of knowing yourself. So it's a kind of like an instrument, you know, you need to tune yourself to the high level, right? So you detoxifying your body, your mind, your surroundings, your diet is clean, all that. And now you're becoming the instrument. And now things are going through you. I call it the transmuters. So, but that's another subject. I love that subject too. But is there any question about that? About the sensitivity, how to become immune?
Yeah, I have a good question from somebody. They want to know what you would suggest about protecting your energy in large crowds.
Okay, so you have to be aware how you ask, right? Because if you protecting yourself, you are in fear. Fear and love cannot be in the same vibration. So when if many of you or some of you might be healers, and when healers are like protecting themselves, what are they protecting themselves from? What are you protecting yourself from? So, you know, I am all for strengthening your light, strengthening your aura, but from a mindset of that versus I'm protecting myself from something or someone. Because remember, we are all one. Everything is connected. That's the oneness. That thing lurking out there somewhere, it's part of you. So it's like you have to be strong enough to one thing. It's going to bounce off of you because there's no resonance, there's no hook in your aura at all. Or now I lost my thoughts what I was going to say. Yeah, now I lost my thoughts. So anyway, just strengthen your aura and know why you're asking for protection. I always like a visualization. We're going to do one. Because white light, of course, light, any kind of light will strengthen your aura. So think about changing that, just those couple words, from protecting to make yourself more immune. That's completely shift of consciousness, completely. They're going from fearful to more like courageous. Fearful, courageous. It's a very different vibe. And we will talk about that because it's so important, because your words will carry your actions, right? So it's just, and you're going to attract that, because if you're going to protect yourself from something, then well, that something's waiting for you, if that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. So I would like to talk about, when we talked about ourselves, like knowing ourselves and where we are and the level of consciousness, right? So we were talking about the depression, or we talking about how to protect ourselves. These questions are showing us which level of consciousness or chakra system, that they kind of the same thing and it's just a different language, where we are. That really is helpful to see the foundation and where you're going, right? And then you know that when you are somewhere, it doesn't mean you're special or you above something else. No, not at all. We going up and down, depends what situation we are in. So certain situation, we are fluctuate in the level of consciousness, okay? So I'll give you an example. Finding the way we ask questions. Let's see, I have my little notes here. You have questions like this. Why does she keep lying to me? I'm so upset with her. I can't believe she's doing this to me over and over and over. All right, so if you think about it, if we know we have the 7 chakras, what chakras will these questions would be from? Okay, so I'll answer because I can't hear you. The first 3 chakras. So the first 3 chakras is because the she, he, they, and it's all about the power. It's the 3rd chakra, and it's all about the ego. And that's the questions that people ask. So it's like, it's the human part of us. Remember, we have the soul, and then we have, we have the spiritual selves, and we have the human selves, and both are very, very important. There's a time for the polarized world of the 3rd dimension of those 3 chakras. And there's a time that we can expand. So when we have these questions about why is she doing this to me? Why is he cheating on me? All that, why me? We're creating that bad guy, good guy, right? Polarized world. So question like this, I wonder what is going on in his life to make such a choices that affects me in a certain way. Okay, so it's now you're looking at it from a more elevated standpoint of view, like you're wondering why this person is choosing to, let's say, cheat on you or lie about you or taking away from you, or now you kind of like wonder. You don't take it personally, you don't take it on the ego and the personality standpoint. You're taking it more like, okay, we are all one, okay, in some level. So why is this person choosing these choices? See how different that sounds? You're now not a victim. You are now in some kind of a dance that you don't understand per se, but you don't see yourself as hopeless and helpless, and they are more powerful than you, and so on and so forth. And so so 3rd level of question would be something like, I'm wondering, what am I learning from this person by them using these choices? Is there some soul connection that I'm not aware of, that these lessons are coming up because it doesn't feel good but I guess I have to experience it on some kind of a soul level to bring healing into my body, into my soul. So you could see how elevated that question is. And I am not saying with every situation in life, you go to these high voltage questions. I'm saying to recognize where, because if you see a situation that a child's being hurt, and you see some kind of a crime on an innocent or something like that, you're not going to go like into that high level. You step in, because that's a completely different question and different situation. So you have to use your wisdom and your knowledge with that. Don't just copy and paste these high voltage questions and all of a sudden pretend to be spiritual and not having the other ones, even though energetically you would very much swim with the polarized situations. Okay, so you have to be, again, it's not about pretending, it's about you really looking deep within yourself and seeing where are you. And it's okay to go sometimes into the polarized world, because we are human. If we don't recognize it in the polarized world, we can't transmute it. We have to feel it, right? That's why that's why we are here. We even came here as a Caspers, swimming around, like flying around as a spirits. Okay, we are spiritual. We came here to be a better people. And so hopefully I am making this clear that one level of questions is not better than the other. It's all about understanding where we are in certain situations and where other people are in certain situations. Maybe they are not on that same resonance as you. And so you can have a compassion for their behavior or for their actions. Okay. So, because when we go with intuition, this is really helpful for us to have a broader understanding of how people are, why they feel the way they feel, why they act the way and you could see it. It's almost like predictable, really, because you could see that there's a pattern, and in these behaviors and in these conversations, and it's kind of like the movie is rerun over and over and over. It's really, we are really predictable in many ways. But when we deal with the level of consciousness of love deals with situation as a whole. And that's what I want to bring you up there, because when we talked about the truth, right? And intuition works on the truth. So you have to get into the love vibration. You have to get into that whole, we are all one, and then we are all on the same boat. It's like the Musketeers, like I always make this wrong, but one for all and all for one, right? We're not going to the new world without everyone. Okay, so this is where the compassion comes in for another human being, and intuition is based in a vibration of love and has the ability to see, okay, to see the truth. Like, I kind of see you. I don't know how many times you have been blessed when people see you. It's so beautiful when people kind of see you. You don't have to use words, they just know who you are. So when we see through our eyes on the soul level, that's the truth. That is the ultimate intuition that my goal is to lead you, because it's just not lead you, but guide you, because it's just so beautiful. It's fully understandable, and the capacity of there's a capacity of unbelievable understanding without any reasoning. And it's almost like a process in symbolism without words. And then that same time, you create a lot of good feel hormones, a lot of endorphins happens in the brain when you get into that level. So it kind of feels good too, to have that level of intuition, of to see things clearly. The invisible power dissolves negativity. I mean, that sentence is so beautiful. That this invisible power dissolves negativity. Okay, so that's just a amazing intention to have. And that's why it's so important to find out more about yourself. and find out about your clairs, right? About the way you get your intuition. And we'll talk about that as well. But, we have those 5 senses, which is the hearing, seeing, and so on and so forth. But then we have the clairs, which is the seeing, it's really the hearing, the sensing, the knowing. So we are really like 10 sensory beings, not 5, right? Once we become fluent in that one clair, that's a very nice foundation. And then we can have many ways of getting the intuition. There's a time in your life that we all had that intuitive senses, and we took it for granted, and we easily dismissed it. And that the intuition came over and over and over, and many times we just pushed it aside. So unfortunately, it's almost like, it's like a beloved friend that we just didn't want anything to do with it. So now we're inviting it back into our life. Recognize in your mind where that time came in, where you actually had the intuitive sense and you trusted or you didn't trust it. Either way, just go back there, because that memory of it will start creating cellular memory in your body. And once you kind of anchor that, then it's going to be like almost like a base point for you, because you will have flashbacks like, oh yeah, I have the gut feeling, or I had the butterflies, or I had that pit feeling, like tense, however you felt, or you just knew it. So just go back into those thoughts, write them down, because there will be a lot of information about how you personally get into the intuitiveness. It's very important with intuition to use imagination. So if people don't have any questions, I would like to bring them into a little visualization, because many times intuition comes and we wonder, did I imagine things? Is this like, no, that can't be. And we like, the imagination and then the real world kind of like starts arguing within themselves. And so we dismiss it. And that's when we dismiss our intuition, because it comes like imagination. So when I'm working with imagination, people are like, oh, I can't imagine anything. Well, when we go through this, you will. So what I would like to do is to go into a time somewhere in some point in your life that you will have a situation pop up that you maybe want to change. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through it. Brandon, do you have anything to say before we start?
We do have one question, if we have time for it. Yeah. So, and it seems to be a popular one, I've been hearing, but how they're asking, living with others, and this is kind of a common theme, like, well, I'm getting higher and higher, and I'm living with these people who are living in this low vibration, right? How do we get them to, like, how do we, come on, y'all,
Yep.
what do we do there?
Yep. I have to say, it's not about them, it's about you. So if you get triggered by them, you still have a lot of work to do. So you cannot just like you heard Gandhi, it's not about you changing them, it's about you changing you. So once you start recognizing that your judgment of them acting certain way is a judgment, and you know where judgment is. So it's almost like kind of comical, because we're working on ourselves, and then we have these triggers at home, like, oh, maybe I'm not so spiritual because I still get triggered by this. So it comes with compassion, that it's like you cannot change the other people, but you can change the way you're looking at them. There is also that same answer has many levels. If it is an environment that is so toxic, okay, not just uncomfortable, toxic, and it's affecting your health, your well-being, then you have to make some choices, unfortunately. But if there's something that, you choose to be in, day out, because there's a benefits and you prostituting your soul for that, then that's another story. But if it's just uncomfortable and you just get irritated by some certain things, then just, compassion comes in and all that. But like I said, all for one, one for all. Your family is part of the unit. So, and like I said, that is the biggest challenge. Yeah. So there's again, it's very specific. I would never want anyone to stay in a very toxic relationship, because I even wrote about it in my book, how that affected one client very severely. This person was elderly and was able to do amazing things outside of the household. But once she was inside the household, she could barely move. So it's just like, her body literally got kind of like seized up. So that is the intuition. And your body carries very, very intelligent messages. So it's like your body is literally the tool for intuition. So if you're feeling something, something's off. But you want to make sure that you are immune to it. Remember, that's what we're talking about, the immunity. It's not like rejecting. It's about it's not affecting you. So if there is something that is still affecting you, there's still things working with you. So I'll give you an example. So I never felt that I had like deep rooted anger towards anything or anyone, really. I get mad just like anyone else, but I don't have it towards people or person or anything like that. And for some reason, I felt that I was attracting an anger around me. And I started realizing, like, why is it so much anger around me? So then I really did some deep digging, and I realized my judgment towards the anger. See, I didn't like the anger. I judged the anger versus just let it be an anger. See the difference? If you want to be angry, you have every single right. It's your free will. Me dancing with the anger is my free will. So it's like I always say, it's two to tango. One cannot do tango, two have to tango. So if you don't like something, don't participate in that. Just only feed the good, the things that you want to feed. And if you see something you don't like, don't participate. Just acknowledge it with compassion. Okay. So we're going to do some practice with the visualization. So if you can put the candle back on, you don't obviously have to look at the candle. You can close your eyes. It would be more helpful, but it would help me to see the candle. So just take a deep breath. It's going to be very quick. You don't have to go too deep. Visualize your home with your eyes closed. Visualize your home. Take a deep breath and see yourself standing in front of your front door. What color is it? Do you have steps to get to the door? Or flat surface? Are there trees and bushes around the door? Or perhaps you live in a condo. Are there any gates? When you're standing outside, do you feel the wind? Or is it a hot, sunny day? When you're standing there, you're taking a deep breath, then just remember your happy moment in your life. Something like first kiss, a concert of your favorite musician, or your child's first words. Go there. Feel it. How do you feel? Now, we will use the same visualization, which is a situation that first pops up in your mind that you would like to change, make it better, eliminate from your life. So go to some moment that you would like to change, to transmute in your life? Per se, in your work or your family, with your children, parents. Visualize that moment. Where are you? Who is with you? What are you wearing? Is it a day or night? Once you have established this foundation, go back to the feelings. Fish for the feelings. I will check with you in a couple seconds. The feelings have arisen. Sit with it. Feel it. Own it. Don't try to explain or wiggle yourself out of it. Name it. Call it something. Give it a shape, color, or create a dragon out of it. Once you feel that the feeling has neutralized, it has lost the grip on you. The vibration will come back to test you, that if you are sure, done with it. But now, if it does, it will be amplified, loud and easily recognizable. It will no more be hidden in a subconscious mind. Okay, you can open your eyes. This is very, very powerful, because when we neutralize the situation, the feelings, and we call it something, we can see it. It's not that scary. It's kind of almost like outside of us. Then we can transmute it. But when it's within us in that pressure cooker, it's really hard to do. So that's why being aware of it and call it something that it is very important. So very quick, I know we are running a little late. We have like 3 minutes left or so. I'm going to go probably 5 minutes over, so I understand if somebody needs to run. But I still want to share something with you. Map of consciousness. Can you pop that one up? I believe we have that on our resource page on our website as well. And you can Google it. This is a creation of Dr. David Hawkins. And you could see very quickly on the shame, guilt, apathy, grief, like it's the third column. And you could see the neutrality. This is kind of where we want to go. This is the goal. And we will talk about the next classes. But so we took all the anger and the depression and then the frustration. We kind of neutralized it. And that's kind of where the transmutation happens. And then we can rise into the higher levels. We have to first kind of create a platform. So again, this resource is available. I believe it's on our website, but
I think if you don't mind, I threw the resource for this downloadable file with the others that we offered in the chat box, if anybody's interested, as well as a link to your book in our Facebook group.
Perfect. Okay, so we pretty much in the end. Does anybody have any questions? Nope. Okay. I have a homework for next week. The homework is, how do you receive information from your surroundings? What is your primarily clair? The hearing, the seeing, the knowing, and feeling. So just kind of like when you are sitting home and some of you, like you were saying, get triggered by other people. And how do you feel it? Do you feel it? Do you see it? How do you get this information? Do you get back pain, stomach aches? Do you get headaches, or you just get irritated? What is the thoughts coming through? Like, write everything down. Maybe it's not your home, maybe it's your work, or maybe it's somewhere else. But think about the situation and be very, very aware of your intuitive senses. Also, the next thing, think about the situation. I said this before, but I really want you to take this more deeply. Think about it in a situation where your intuition was very strong, very strong. Go back there and analyze it. Did you trust it? You did not. How did you get it? Why did you trust it? Why did you not trust it? What was the outcome? All of that, it's so important because we all have that in us. It could be the very instinctual or just the knowing, or again, there's different levels of it, but I really would like to find that kind of a base. And see if there's anything else. That's it. So I would like to thank everyone. Brandon, thank you. And you want to say something, Brandon?
If you have time for one more question, we had one
Yes.
just pop up. We're getting asked, help with visualizing on changing situations. What do you suggest with the stress of people interrupting and think they should be served faster or now?
Boundaries. That's a big one. Yeah, I'm working on empaths first aid kit. And usually empaths are bombarded by people and they don't have a strong boundaries. Boundaries is really, really big. And I really don't care if there's your children or your spouses or your employees. You have to have a strong boundaries. You have to have a self-love. If you want something from other people, you have to kind of like carry that first, right? So you have to show the example how you want to be treated. Otherwise, they will just walk all over you because they always have done that. So when you change, you change that paradigm shift in you, they're not going to like it, but they're going to test it, poke you kind of thing. But yes, boundaries, please just recognize that. If I look at it this way, you can maybe serve them day, 2 days, month, year, but eventually you will collapse. You can't keep going like Energizing Bunny because you need to refuel, and you do not want to go into the energetic debt. You want to make sure you constantly have enough fuel to just live in a thriving world, not surviving world. And hopefully that helps.
Do you have time to maybe discuss the responsibility that comes with these boundaries and kind of defining and sticking up for yourself?
It's not necessarily sticking up for yourself. It's just like, just be. You kind of, when you stand in that sovereignty power of, who you are. And it's not like you are better. It's just, you just hold that grace within you. People will recognize it. They will go somewhere else. So it's not necessarily defending. They will try to, especially if it's your loved ones, they kind of poke you and all that. But enough is enough, right? So it's like, you can also, again, if it's, I don't know where that question comes from, but if it's your family, you could just say, what, by 9, I am in my bedroom and I'm not opening up the doors. So I'm not available. So you just like, when you have to kind of be very clear, I have on my door, my sign, do not enter. Like, teenagers have it. So why can parents have it? Right. So you have to kind of laugh at that too, because it's just kind of comical how far people will push you. But please always put finger on you. You allow this. You allowing this behavior to happen. So stop it.
Great. Thank you so much, Lenka.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
We will not have a class in March. We're going to have a next one in April. So we will potentially be posting some videos on our resource page or Facebook page, but we'll see you in April. Thank you so much.